If you don't want to vote through the mail, you can always cast your ballot in person.
But heading to the polls is definitely going to look and feel a little different this year.
KCTV5's Joe Chiodo shows us what that might look like for tonight's Good Question.
Are masks required at the polls? If they aren't, why not? If a voter refuses to wear a mask, what will election officials do? Good question. I got answers from both sides of the state line. Here's what I found out. Let's begin in Missouri. Here's what the Secretary of State's office told me over the phone.
There is not a statewide face mask mandate. Any local ordinances or policies would be in effect on Election Day if they're operational.
The state's final advice is if you're concerned, call your local election board. But know that most are encouraging, not requiring. The Jackson County Election Board explained how they'll handle a voter who still refuses to wear one. In a statement, the board tells me, poll workers are required to wear face masks or shields. Voters are strongly encouraged. If they cannot or refuse, we will encourage them to vote curbside from their car. If they refuse to do that, we will try our best to get them through the voting process as quickly and as safely as possible. We will try to make sure they maintain a 6-foot distance from all other individuals in the polling location. Some voters take issue with this, worrying that polling locations could be a super spreading event. But a recent poll from Politico suggests the majority of the country will show up wearing masks. In a surprising response, 79% of Americans favor a mask requirement at polling places, according to those surveyed. Republicans were less likely to favor it, 78%, compared to 83% of Democrats in this study. So why aren't masks required? For that explanation, let's take you over to the Kansas side. Kansas Secretary of State Scott Schwab pointed to the state constitution. He says Kansas voters who choose to vote in person will be allowed to vote regardless of whether or not they wear a mask. Exercising one's fundamental right to vote is not and should not be contingent upon whether or not they choose to wear a mask. Voter intimidation or suppression based on the use or non-use of a face mask or for any other reason will not be tolerated. Most states are taking this approach. Now, keep in mind, all polling places are putting other safety measures in place. You will see hand sanitizer, social distancing, and plexiglass at most locations as well in the metro. And many will have masks available if you forget yours. Now, if you have another good question, email me at goodquestion@kctv5.com. Joe Chiodo, KCTV5 News.